last time we did this, the sound wasn't quite what we were hoping for. So that this time, I can hear you loud and clear, Connie.
Let's just say what it was. The sound was awful.
Yes. Yes.
Updated the equipment, and it's a lot better now.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I don't have to worry about me like toning it down because it's my big mouth, right? So it's like, yeah, whatever. Right? I talk, people will hear it forever and ever. It's not like it's a gift. They even gave me an award for it. Hey, but
well, there you go.
I got skills. What can I say? But no, it's just like I say, it's been a while, and like I said, it's been kind of cool being part of. So, how do I know? Like I said, I met Connie through, ironically, JD Estrada, who introduced me to Mark, who introduced me to everybody else. And Connie has been watching my art progress on the drink and draw. During a draw and bid.
I think I bought your very first piece.
You did. You did.
I did.
You were Tori. You and Tori. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like I've come a long way. I think I'm almost good now. I'm almost good. Some things still kick my ass.
Almost famous.
Yeah, almost. I'm cool being almost everything. You know what? Almost is actually a good spot. Right? You don't have the expectations of actually being it, and you're actually good enough that people notice you, which is like it's a nice, like quote unquote comfort spot. Nah, who am I kidding? Yeah, at some point take that leap and do
between.
You're in between. Yeah, it's a neat spot because you're in a transition thing, and for me, the last week or so has definitely been a transition week for me. How about you? What are you up to?
Well, the last month has been really, really awesome because it looks like there's a ton of collaboration stuff coming along. That's really, really cool. Like right now, I'm working on a piece together with An and Michael Cannon. He's another local artist from Hawaii, and we're making a triptych art piece together that's going to go into a call for artists in a local gallery. So I'm pretty sure it's going to get into the show, but let's hope let's not jinx it. But I'm sure it's going to be awesome. I'm sure.
An and me have quietly become pretty big fans of each other. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it's like An's awesome. I think everybody knows An's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, right. I think I've been sending her I've been working on my next book, so I've been sending her she's been quietly beta reading the next book. She really likes it. She really, really likes it. So it's definitely something that there's a mutual admiration society there with me and An. I don't know Michael. I don't know Michael very well, so I can't really make a comment on him. And as for you, I'm happy to see you just keep growing and evolving with what you're pretty awesome yourself.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to always keep on doing things that challenge you. You know, with this collaboration, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work because we're still kind of working remotely. So we're kind of trying to blend the edges between our works by sending update shots and kind of measuring tape and everything so we can remotely kind of assimilate it a little bit. So I'm working on the center right now, and An and Michael are trying to kind of make it match on the side, and I'm really, really excited to see how this is going to turn out.
It sounds really cool. It's an interesting challenge, telling one whole story with one image, and all three of you are doing it. You're almost like doing your first animation studio thing. Who knows? Maybe down the road there'll be a cartoon, and it'll be created by you three, and this is your practice for that. It'd just be hey, you know what's really awesome? We did this now. We can do this for a studio somewhere. Never know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You never know where it's going to take you. One thing that I really, really liked about the local artists over here, that they're all really, really supportive. They're all really, really supportive, not just of each other, but the community in general, and a lot of people that are out and about. And I think, didn't An also agree to do the cover for you when you're done with your book? I thought I heard something that she was going to do the cover for you. But,
no.
Maybe?
No. So this is what's going to happen with An. This book is
okay.
this was happening with An. this book's already got a creative person behind it. Mackenzie Carr's her name. She's really, really good. And she suits Alice in Wonderland really good. However, I have approached on with my next. I'm actually illustrating my next book, which is scary. But it's based off of my Twitch stream, right? Because I may not be great at stuff, but I can definitely do fun little Twitch stuff and dialogue on the side and almost create like a mini comic inside my novel, because it's actually a novel. But the book after that is a female version of it's like Parker meets Quantum Leap. And it's Parker meets Quantum Leap. So it's about a woman who used to be a member of the, like, imagine taking the Knights of the Round and making them like completely evil. And I mean, they're monsters, right? They're absolute, like, terrifying human beings. In my timeline, this great big empire of Camelot, this is my Camelot, Arthur marries Morgan Le Fay. And the world goes to hell. The world literally go to hell. And Corey is the main character. Her name's Corey. She used to be a Knight of the Round, and she had enough. She was a really good assassin when she was working for the Knights of the Round. Really, really good at her job. But the job broke her. And she now wants to kind of do good. So the resistance, quote unquote, to the Camelot is an actual based on a real group. It's called the Night Witches. And the Night Witches were a Russian army militia unit based during World War II. They were Russian women that would fly in these wooden planes, and they would terrorize Nazi Germany. They won more battles than I had wooden planes that they could only strike at night. So at nightfall, when night fell, they would strike the enemy, and you could just hear them whistle. And because it was night, no one could see them coming. And due to the nature of their planes, they were actually more maneuverable than the regular planes. So they were a holy terror for the Germans. They might have won more battles than any other army in history. And these are some badass Russian women. So in my story, Corey is a member of, again, the Night Witches, not those Night Witches, but that's the basis of where they come from. They're a group of, they're an organization that's opposing what's going on with the Empire. And so Corey's trying to make amends for who she is. But the thing is, Anda's badass barbarian women, and she does parallel worlds, really, really cool. And I told her kind of where I wanted to go with some of the Knights of the Round. And she was, she really dug it. I was like, yeah, I would love you not only just to do the cover, but also kind of design the knights and Corey and just the world, a little bit of the world building as well. So you might see her do in my perfect world, because I'm a big Japanese light novel guy. I really, really am in my perfect world. I do these fun little pulp stories with Corey, like, just doing badass shit, and Andros are doing badass things in the book a little bit, and also do like these kick-ass covers, and that would be the ideal. Now, it's obviously not just what I call it, it's her call. What does she want to do? But it's a really good project, I think, for her. It fits her strengths very well. It's important when you work with an artist, right, that you look at what they do incredibly well, right? And she likes drawing, like See Lady Purgatory, Vampirella, Red Sonja, like, that's Anne's wheelhouse. She loves these badass pulp heroines, right? She's great at that. She's absolutely great at that. So I created a pulp heroine with like a Parker sensibility, a code of honor, much like Parker, like in the classic Parker novel, crime novels. And then she goes to parallel worlds. So from an art standpoint, it's fun. Like, in the first novel, Corey is the Night Witches are flying dinos and hit and bombarding the enemy with dino shit, like legit, like that's literally like. And then the next one, I have another story where it's a Magnificent Seven retelling, right? And Corey has to recruit some women. It's women. It's badass women that are trying to rescue their husbands from Lancelot. Lancelot's the villain in that one. It's a fun one. It's a very, very fun one, and. So yeah, no, this is one of those, like, I can do so many cool little stories with it. And there's like an overall Uber story too, but what it's about ultimately is about, can a bad person become a good person again? Or at the very least, can people change? And that's a really interesting like concept. And again, looking around at people I know, An's the one I looked at her and said, you could do it. I think you'd be great at it. And whatever An's comfortable doing, I know it's going to be covers and some world building for sure. If she just does that, that's great. But if I can get her to do a couple illustrations on the inside as well, awesome. Because I think I can't wait to see her take on Corey in particular, because there's like in the first novel there's 2 Corys. And I know we're talking about me way too much. I gotta get shit back to you a little bit. But yeah, like these are things I'm working on quietly, like on the side while I'm doing this. The current book I'm working on is Alice in Wonderland's Greek mythology, Alice's Pandora. And in that story right now, I'm doing a little fun take on the Greek gods, like Carl Jung, Greek gods, the Alice in Wonderland mythos, and I'm hashing it all together in a really neat way. Right this minute, Alice and Hercules are fighting the Hydra in the underworld. It's actually an undead Hydra. It's actually like really, 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 really messed up.
Because a zombie Hydra.
It is a zombie Hydra, like a legit zombie Hydra, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing right now in that story, and that story's nearly done. So that's the priority, because Alice Zero is up for an award this year. So I got to do the sequel to it. So it's like, I got to get the sequel done before I can do anything else. And then I do my story, and then I do An's story, and then I go back to another book series I have, which do a sequel to that, and just constantly keep doing that. And all the while, I'll try to make a living as a freelancer while I'm doing all this, because I apparently I can't do a menial job anymore. I can't do it. I got fired this week for like 3 days. Like 3 days in, I did nothing wrong. Like I literally showed up. I did what I was asked to do. I didn't do anything. Like I didn't do anything flagrant or I was there. I did my thing. And on the 3rd day, they let me go. And it was like,
any explanation why? Any explanation why?
I didn't fit. That was the exact reason why I heard. But I heard nothing. Like when Ted she was talking to me about this place, it was like, well, they said there's complaints about you. It's like, I didn't hear a word. Nothing was said to me at all. I showed up.
There were complaints. They
said that well, I don't know. Like here's the thing. Like normally if I'm a problem, if there's a problem, you would tell me, right? No one told me anything. And just I go home one day. I go home at night getting ready. I'm actually getting ready for the shift the next day, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna you go." Like how does the shift go? I'm sorry, but I'm doing my job, and they go, and then it's like, well, we got these complaints and that you don't fit and this that, and we're gonna let you go. It's like, wait, what?
Jeez.
Like that. So. But sometimes you just have to recognize to see the signs for what they are, right? Like sometimes like I've been trying to move away from that for a very long time, and this is like that's not a sign from above that, hey, listen, you've done this, you can't do this kind of work anymore. I don't know what else it would be. I really don't know, because I didn't do anything wrong. I showed up and did my job, but I did it right.
Right. So it would be interesting just to hear what the complaints actually were, just out of interest, out of pure curiosity, just finding out what the complaints were.
Not at this point.
No?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not there. If I was still there, that would matter. But
true.
I'm not there anymore. And that's fine. Like, again, it's just one of those internal, like, I'm sorry to put this. I got to a point, I think, a few years back, I recognized the fact that, yeah, you want to know why in a perfect world, why certain things happen a certain way. One hand, yeah, it's nice to know, and sometimes you really do want to know, and sometimes you need to know. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's like, does it really matter? You're still here. This is still happening. This is moving on. Is that really a big deal? The only question I had is, and again, just looking back, was, did I put the best effort I could in? If the answer was yes, then there really isn't anything else I could do, right? Because I wasn't given a helping hand to figure out how to get better. I was just let go, right? And like I know I could do a job like this because I did it for 10 years. So it's not like I was like new at this. It's just, it is what it is, right?
Well, I think you're right in saying that sometimes it's not worth obsessing about the opinion of entities that you don't care about. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the best thing, just to say, like, their opinion doesn't matter to me at this point.
Yeah.
So if it didn't fit, then maybe that's a good thing.
Well, it almost always is. Like, you're almost like,
yeah.
Oh, dang. Like, you look down the road sometimes, you're like, oh, thank God. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I'm paying for everything this month right this minute. But that's okay. But that's okay too. Like, I don't need to worry about it yet. I have to soon, but I don't have to worry about it yet. What I got to worry about right now is podcast is doing well. I'm here and I get to work with you, which is going to be kind of fun and wonderful and stuff like that. And tomorrow is another day. And you know what? I mean, I had some things happen. Again, this has been a weird week. I got a call for a corporate job in Calgary, Alberta. Who knows, right? Who knows where that leads? So, I mean, right. So
maybe gonna move.
Maybe that's the other thing too. It's like, I'm kind of just like, you know what? I'm just going, what happened? So, I are you like religious at all?
Not at all.
Okay. No, it's fine. Fine. Sometimes, okay, I'll put it to you like this then. Sometimes, so the Christian concept sometimes is, I'm a dead man, right? I'm a dead man. And the idea is, you're not really in control with the flow of life. Life just goes the way it goes. No matter what hand you're dealt, like, that's, sometimes there's a lot you don't control. And you can fight it, and sometimes you can make some compromises here and there for sure. But more often than not, you go with the flow. You go where you're supposed to be and where you need to be. I'm a dead man. I'm just gonna go with it wherever it goes. And that's kind of where I'm at. The kind of like, so for me, it's like where I'm at right this minute. Fuck it. I'm gonna keep doing what I do best, which is make this happen, right? And I'm gonna believe in it. I'm gonna believe in what I'm doing. I'm gonna see if I can get more. Looking at getting sponsorships and stuff like that, because if I can get that, that's great. I can solve some issues and kind of see where life takes me tomorrow, because tomorrow's another day and tomorrow's another one filled with possibilities.
I always find it weird when you say I'm a dead man. Basically, you're saying that you're a log in the water and you're just floating just down the stream. Well, you're saying, like, the way that you're saying, like, I'm a dead man, it conjures a whole different visual. You know what I mean? To a lot of people, when you're saying
the idea is a very Christian concept. Like I think the hardest thing I had to learn, that I learned this the last time I was in my own, like, my last apocalypse, was the whole concept of surrendering to the moment. Right? Sometimes you have to recognize, like, we have one of the hardest things about life we have to recognize is we don't really have very much control over it. We can control our reactions. That's it. Like, everything else is really not in your hands at all. There are people that can do more because they have more money, resources, and their decisions can make certain things happen. But even then, they don't really have that much control either. Life is a river. It kind of just goes where it's going to go, and no matter what you say or do, we all are cast into the tides of where we're going to go. And you can fight, there are things to fight for, but that flow can't be fought with. It's just going to go where it's going to go, and people are going to do what they're going to do, and you can't change that. So you can.
I don't really fully agree with that concept, because even in a river, you can use a rudder to kind of steer with the flow, or a little bit. You can go down the stream and change direction. So there's always decisions that you can't make. You can always make decisions that get you a little bit more towards the shallows, or a little bit more into the turbulent water. So you can a lot of times make decisions that take you around the boulders. So it's not entirely up to
not
outside control. So there's still a lot of self-control in a way that takes you onto different routes. A lot of times you cannot see where that's going to lead you in the future, right? Like a lot of times you don't know if the decision that you're making at this point is going to be a good one in the long run, right? Like there's always going to be something where you can say like, oh, this seems like a really good decision that I made. Yeah, for now it's good. There might be other repercussions that come down the line, but then you have to make a decision at that point.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's true. I think with every decision you make, right? But I like I said, with me personally, I've learned. But the thing is, I just learned, like, do this control your controllables. Like whatever the situation on the river is, because sometimes you're right, you can steer the river wherever you want to go. Sometimes that current's too strong. Sometimes there's no current. Sometimes it looks like I'm stuck and I don't know where to go. And sometimes there's just these opportunities. The important thing, no matter what the situation though is, and this is something I've learned, don't panic. Even if it looks bad, there's no point in panicking about it, because it's there, and it's not. And whether you panic or not, it isn't going to change anything really. Otherwise, it's going to take you more energy to get yourself calm again, to deal with whatever it is in front of you. And
a lot of times you make really stupid decisions when you panic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, right. Like it doesn't do any good. Right? It just doesn't do any good. And so you have to recognize, like that's the thing, right? Like the decisions we make, there are big things we don't have say over. We have some say over, but we have always a say over how we react to these situations. We can choose to cooperate. We can choose not to cooperate. And sometimes it's right to not cooperate. Sometimes it's right to be resistant. Sometimes though it's easier just to go with the flow. Sometimes, right, and we all gotta make those decisions of what's important to us. But no matter what decision we choose, it's best to be calm when you make those decisions. Because if you do that, what ends up happening is you still might make mistakes, but you'll be in control of you, and you can always course correct. You can always pivot, or whatever the term may be, when you do those things. But you have to recognize those things for what they are. Make sense?
Yeah, of course it does. Like a lot of times the decisions that you're making, like it's a lot of times it's not those yes or no huge things. It's just tiny, slight little things that pull you in one way or the other.
Absolutely. No, and sometimes even your mistakes aren't really mistakes. They might be mistakes in the moment, but I have found that everything I've absolutely done, has led somewhere. Everything, right? And sometimes this really terrible thing I did earlier on has led to like these great things later, because like you screwed up royally here, but you learned so much, right? And you come back to this kind of opportunity again. You're like, okay, how can I do better this time? And you learn and you grow. And I love making mistakes, even stupid ones. Maybe especially the stupid ones sometimes. But I learned.
A lot of times, like I've thought back a lot of times, like I've made some embarrassing mistakes or like stupid things that are just completely like, well, I really dipped my foot into the shit barrel right there.
Yeah, you
Like,
did.
just this completely like some
Oh yeah,
embarrassing moment. But you know, looking back at it, like you can revisit that. And I don't think I've got many things that I really regret doing, even
exactly.
although they were completely stupid. But you know, but
That's
hey,
the point, right? A mistake you can learn from, right? You can learn from mistakes, right? You can't,
of course I can.
right. But regrets, you always wonder. Like you always wonder with regrets. That's why I would rather make a million mistakes than have even one regret because regrets hurt. Because you'll never know what you could do if you stop yourself, right? Whereas I So I mentioned this story on my last podcast. I'll actually tell the story here. Still remember the
Okay.
first time I still remember the first time I made chocolate chip cookies. It
Oh,
was
okay.
it was a disaster. But here's the story. It was a total disaster. It led to something really funny later. So this is high school. This is home ec. This is like the equivalent of home ec, and I'm doing like this make some chocolate chip cookies. Okay. So I'm new to this baking thing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I'll be the first. And then I was smart. I asked for help. I got a chef. Guy actually was a chef. Come in and said, "Okay, listen. If I have any questions, he was there just basically. If I have any questions, he helped me." Now, baking is not like cooking. Baking is all about precision.
Yeah,
Baking
it's very exact.
baking is math. Baking is very math. So I still remember this. I remember this the day I die. I went to the chef. So is it a quarter teaspoon or a quarter tablespoon of baking soda? Because I this was new. I did like tablespoon, teaspoon was a brand new thing to me. And he goes tablespoon. So I chucked the tablespoon in. Oh no, it's teaspoon. Oops.
Well, there it goes.
So yeah, those cookies did not turn out well. My dad bent over like an accordion when he tried one. He actually tried one. Brave, brave, brave soul. He actually tried one cookie, one bite, and he ended up going to the store to get a Coke. And what makes that hilarious, it's the only Coke my dad has drinking in 30 years. So it was really, that's what makes that hilarious. But it led somewhere because I got the opportunity to make amends kind of with so the chef's wife. I did the next time I baked banana bread. So the chef guy was hilarious, like smiling. He's like, so he called my dad. He's like, you want to talk to the person that made the banana bread? He goes, yeah, sure, I'll talk to that. So it gives it to me. Hey, Dad. Wait, what? You? Right? I still like it was damn good banana bread. My dad ate their banana bread. He ate the damn thing, whole thing himself. It was. I still remember this to this day as one of the coolest things. Not all mistakes are necessarily bad ones. You learn from your mistakes. Sometimes it's not as funny as nearly killing your dad with a chocolate chip cookie. It's like, but you know, you learn from those things. You don't regret going for like things you try and that don't work out, right? The only thing you can do is, can you look in the mirror and go, hey, listen, I did everything I knew how to do. Because if you can answer that honestly with a yes, then you've done nothing wrong. Like you've done absolutely nothing wrong, and you should be commended for the effort, if nothing else. And that effort mounts. It leads sometimes to places you never thought it would go.
I already started scribbling a little bit.
No, it's
I
okay.
can't
You can
wait.
start moving. We'll move to it. But I mean, yeah, we're gonna shift gears over here. Connie's like, I don't want to talk about this mistake crap anymore. The cookie thing's hilarious. So let's get to drawing. So you're drawing that piece. I'm gonna go with Team Rocket.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do something real quick here before I start. So, were you a Pokemon fan?
Well, Pokemon was never really my thing. So I don't think I'm going to get really into that one right now, but I was going Team Suicide Squad. So I'm doing Harley Quinn.
You're doing Harley Quinn.
Yes.
So what's your favorite Harley? What version of
What do
her
you
is
mean
your favorite?
Oh, well, I do like the comic version. I've read different things with her, like Batman, the White Knight, for example, where she's like more the psychologist. And then there's like different versions of her. So I do like the version where she's a little bit more sane. She has a little bit more calculation behind her. She's not just that brazen, bumbling, whatever chaos bitch that just runs around and just does whatever, just coming right to her. So it's a little bit more calculated.
Have you checked out this comic yet?
No, I don't think I have.
That's Harley Quinn #1 from the New Infinite Frontier line.
Oh, okay.
And so I collect. I see. So I'm a Riley Rossmo guy, and I'm a Stephanie Phillips guy.
Okay.
I knew Riley before he broke in. Actually, I knew Riley before he broke into the comic industry, which I think is a really cool thing. He actually got me, and he actually got me back in the comics, ironically enough, because he used to work at a comic shop that I still think is really cool called Another Dimension Comics, right? And James has a lot of hair. A lot of hair. To protect the world.
Well, when it comes to different people who have drawn Harley Quinn, I do like Chad Hardy's version of it. Like, he had a very playful way of drawing it. And I know that another guy, what was his name? The French guy. I know his Instagram handle is like French Wookie or something. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He did a thing of Power Girl and Harley Quinn where they're out in like in space and doing the weirdest shit. It's just hilarious. Yeah, like I think it's about Harley Quinn manipulating Power Girl into believing, like, forgetting who she is. So she's got like part of her memory is lost, and Harley Quinn is tagging along as her sidekick. You know, so she's trying to really make this girl team thing happen. It's just and Power Girl is just like. And then Poor Girl is just like, why am I hanging out with you? This seems so unlike me. I don't know who I am, but this seems like a character.
Those two are fun to play off each other because Power Girl is like she's a version of Supergirl, is what she is, right? But she's like a fun version. It's like because she's not actually Supergirl, you can kind of cheat with Power Girl and say, you know what, I can have fun with you. And it doesn't really matter.
She also has a little bit more sass, you know. She's not the absolute goody two shoes. Oh, yeah. She has that moment where she's like, "Yeah, I'm done with this shit." Just
pretty much, right?
So yeah, she's a little bit more fun like that.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's my point, right? She's the one that goes, "Hey, you know, I'm the one that can go, hey, I don't really give a rat's ass because I'm Power Girl, and you can't stop me from being awesome. That's it. That's Power Girl in a nutshell, right? I can just be anything I want. And Harley, in my opinion, is at her best when she's not a villain. She has villainous tendencies. She should not be a perfect person. That actually ruins, I think, a bit of her charm. But she tries to do the right thing, right? When she's trying to do the right thing, right? That's when she's at her absolute like best, because then she makes messes up, and she actually has to, work on being a better person, right? And that's when Harley.
That's just it, though. She is a good person in a certain way. Like, she would never hurt a puppy. She would never hurt like a a kitten or anything like that. So in certain ways, she's always a very, very good, virtuous person. Like she would never harm the innocent if she could help it, you know. So she does have a sense of justice in a certain way.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh
I
no.
mean? She's got a sense of justice, but it's very childlike in a way.
Well, yeah.
It's very rudimentary.
Well, yeah. It's because Joker really messed her up, and
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Joker really messed her up. There's no nice way of saying that. She just did, right? And and there's and it changed her whole outlook on some things that maybe would have. She was a sweeter person before she met the Joker. You can see that, right? She was a lot kinder. Doesn't mean she was perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but she was a lot kinder, right? You can kind of see.
Yeah.
You can kind of see that with her, and so when I see Harley, she's at her best. She's at her best, in my opinion. When I say she's not quite a full good guy, but she's got good tendencies, and she's got her ideals. Her ideals are really, really, really. Her intentions are usually good. Usually, not always, but usually they're pretty good, right? How she does it sometimes makes you shake your head, but that's, hey, no one's perfect. I'm not judging her. I'm just like, maybe you should have thought that one maybe a little more. Nah, whatever. I'm glad you didn't play this time, Harley. Right? But that's Harley Quinn, right? And she's become this like really cool, iconic character, right? And like Paul Dini made her, like, my favorite version of her is the one from the original animated series, because you got to see all these really cool layers to her, and Paul Dini did a wonderful job with her, right? And even though she started off as just Joker's estranged girlfriend, she became something much, much more as time went on. I always thought that Paul did a wonderful job with her, and I like her in that format too. But I have to admit, I love the show. The show is so funny. I like that.
Did you watch?
I watched pieces. Did you watch? I watched pieces of it. It is so hilarious. I'm really proud that I got Jesse's hair, right. I think I got it right. Anyway, we'll find out when we get to the final thing. I'm trying to do a little bit more detail than I normally do. I'm trying to get better at this drawing thing. I have to admit, my respect for illustrators has gone up big time doing this. So, you guys do really, really impressive work.
Well, I could also put the camera down a little bit more towards the drawing, if that helps.
Yeah. Sure. We can do that. I wanna be the very best. No one ever was. Catch. I got the Pokemon theme stuck in my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. Sorry if I give anybody pieces of this.
It's all good.
Okay. Nope.
There
we go. Yeah, I have to say, I really have a dislike for pure heroes, like for example, Superman and other heroes that are just too good for their own good. You know what I mean? They're just entirely I'm not doing this because it's wrong. It's just, they don't have any depth to me. It doesn't.
It depends on who writes them. Is kind of my take
Probably.
on them.
Well, I know
Like,
that certain kind of things like Batman traditionally have a lot of layers to them. Like there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of childhood issues, all that kind of stuff. And usually all the good heroes have some kind of a trauma or other things that they are dealing with that kind of defines who they are. And sometimes I think if they are too good, like Superman or certain other characters, then they kind of lose depth. It's just kind of one dimensional. If you're just dealing with the fact like, oh, you're just too powerful for the world, that's your issue. I mean, yeah, it doesn't grab me as much. I can see their point altogether, like that you have to have heroes that are just purely good. Maybe, I don't know.
maybe, I don't know. Somehow I feel Connie's universe would be like your heroes would be mostly heroic, but they'd have their moments. They'd be like, do I really need to save that guy? He'll be
What have
fine. It's all good. I understand. I understand. I really, really do. Just one of those things where it's just like, I wasn't too bad for a first try, I don't think. I'll ink it up and I'll show you what I did.
Go for it.
Yeah, but no, I look at the fact that see, Superman is neat when he's not serious. He's really interesting, actually, because I mean, I don't know, but I'm a big fan of when Jimmy Olsen becomes a monster. I'm a big fan of like just these crazy, silly Superman stories that don't really care that he's all powerful. He's just doing incredibly silly, fun things. I think there's a lot you can do with a character like that. That's just different. You don't need to have a serious superhero story each and every month with the character. I think the only thing I really don't like about the current way Batman's done, it's really hard to do a comical Batman story. And well, I don't think it should be the norm exactly. Right? I think you could do it and it would be all right once in a while. You know what I mean?
A comical Batman?
Yeah, Batman with a sense of humor once in a while.
That reminds me. Have you heard that Michael Keaton is supposed to play another Batman?
Yes.
That is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Talk about the fun Batman kind of thing.
Well, the fun Batman's Adam West. Adam West is the fun Batman.
Oh, okay. Fine. I'll concede that.
Yeah. But it's not too bad. I'm actually impressed with myself sometimes when I draw. It's like, hey, I've gotten all right at this thing. But when Batman right now, it's hard to do a comedy. I think it could be done. I think it could be done well, but it's not usually done at all. And I feel that's too bad because I think it's a missed opportunity with the character sometimes. It would add a little bit more humanity to the character. Just a little. And that's all I'm asking for.
Are you a fan of the God list all the different people who played Batman. Like there's so many different versions of it, and sometimes it depends on when you grew up.
Yeah,
and you like that one the most because you're kind of in that era. But I mean, the George Clooney Batman, a lot of people hate, right? Because I mean, he was kind of like a little bit on the fun side, but I don't know if I don't know.
I just don't think he had a chance, to be perfectly honest with you. That movie was just terrible. It's a bad movie. And that's not his fault. That's not his fault. That was one of those situations where Hollywood said, "We need a Batman movie," and every actor said, "Okay, sure." Holy shit, this is bad. What do you want to do? What will it take to get you to do this? And George Clooney said, "Well, I got this passion project. Okay, you do. We'll give you that to you. Do Batman. Fine. Schwarzenegger, we'll give you End of Days. Fine. Right. Emma Watson, we'll give you Kill Bill. Woohoo! Chris O'Donnell, I'm sorry. Oh, you're under contract. We don't have to give you shit." Right. And that's right.
I can't remember the last time I saw that guy in anything. I wonder.
Well, it was that, and Alicia Silverstone, I'm so sorry. That's all I can say to you is I'm so sorry, because that was bad. That was just really bad. So I don't think he was necessarily a great Batman, but I also don't think it's not like he had much to work with. That's kind of my take on it. It's like, it'd have been one thing if he actually had like Val Kilmer. I got a sense of who he was as Batman. Now, don't get me wrong, not crazy about everything he did. I didn't. Although
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, but I mean, I did actually see him as Batman. Like, I did see that he was Batman, and he was Bruce Wayne. He was actually a half decent Bruce Wayne.
He had a good chin for it, that's for sure.
Yeah. So my take on him is, that's not too bad. But not enough balance on the hair. There's lots of little things here, but I'll show you what I did for my first try at Team Rocket. My first try, ladies and gentlemen. To unite to rid the world of devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation.
You are getting better.
Yeah.
You're getting better. Nice. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. To rid the world of devastation. Of all peoples within our nation. So we keep working on Team Rocket. Because the idea I actually have is having them blasting off again at the hands of Pikachu and Ash and the crew. So I might actually do like a battle homage where you just see them. They always did like this triangular circle in the air as they would blast off to wherever they went after they got their butts kicked. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon.
Well, that's a good part about that's a good thing about having cartoons. You can just kind of like go wherever you want to go with it. And a lot of things like you couldn't really do in a real movie. You can just go nuts with it on cartoons.
Well, that's the whole point, right? That's really the whole point, right? Cartoons. See, imagination is just a powerful tool, right? And when you get to, I might say, okay, cool. When you get to actually explore that space, right, completely, oh my gosh, the fun you can have doing it is just wild. And I say that like in the absolute best way. It's just a wild time. And not everybody how to put this, not everybody sees it like that, but it's the truth, right? That's what makes cartoons awesome. It's the fact that they're not real. They're places where the imagination can go out and play. Right? Now, I think The Simpsons has been around way too long.
Yeah, there's way too much going on. Like, I don't even know how many seasons they did altogether. I can't really.
They're still ongoing. That's the thing. They haven't stopped. I'm older than The Simpsons. That's not by much. That says something.
Absolutely.
I'm old. Yeah, I don't know. Shut up. Oh, it's all good. I'm good with it. But it's one of those things you gotta look at it. You look at it and go like, why, right? But the cool thing, I mean, one of the most brilliant things, kind of the most brilliant thing, is that they never aged the characters in Springfield. So you can do the same thing over and over and over and over again.
That's
right?
true.
And
I think even South Park aged their characters a tiny little bit. They were progressing, I think maybe 2 grades altogether in their story, something like that.
yep, you know, and actually they're actually a little less raunchy than they used to be too, which is I think hilarious. But I know you know who I'm going to draw next. I know who I'm going to draw next. Are you ready?
Okay.
In my opinion, the most powerful Pokemon of all time, Jigglypuff.
Okay. Why is he the most powerful?
Because he puts everybody to sleep. Everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, how powerful you are. The moment he opens his voice, you're done. Done.
That's a cool power right there.
Well, he gets mad because nobody can listen to his whole song. He starts singing.
Aww.
He starts singing, and then he gets really, really mad. He takes a marker and just gets everybody, right? But yeah, no, Jigglypuff's the most powerful Pokemon of them all. Just have him start singing, and then it doesn't matter who you are, you go out. And go to sleep. You're done.
That's kind of sad. He takes the time and everything to write a song, and nobody ever listens to the entire
Nobody can listen
song.
to it.
That's just sad. That's just sad. Go through all the trouble of making it, and then nobody ever listens.
Well, here's the thing about Jigglypuff, right? He's the Wile E. Coyote of Pokemon.
Okay.
No matter how hard he tries, he can't get anyone to listen to him. No matter how hard Wile E. Coyote tries, he never catches the Roadrunner. Ever. Because the Roadrunner is just too... Well, the Roadrunner's a dick, let's be honest. When I was younger, I used to...
I think we were talking about this the last time.
Yeah, exactly. The Roadrunner is a dick.
Yeah.
Right? He's just a total dick. Right? So that's the thing. Jigglypuff does not have a Roadrunner
equivalent. A bad bone in his body, yeah.
You're right. But he's Wile E. Coyote. Like he's the greatest singer no one can ever listen to. Like Jigglypuff's greatest hits, guaranteed to put you asleep. Or your money back, because
it's like elevator music.
Yeah, well, except it's not quite as hellish. Elevator music is, if there is a hell, the music is always elevator music. Always. It's like, what monster would do this? The devil definitely would. It's like, here's hell for you. Enjoy your elevator music, you heathens. You're going to hear it forever. You're like, oh.
That's actually, that reminds me of a comedy bit by Dennis Leary. He says, and you know what hell is, folks? It's Andy Gibb. He's going to sing Shadow Dancing for eons and eons.
There is a very special hell for that kind of, for those that I got that from a video game. I thought it was the most brilliant line in the whole video game, and I like the video game a lot. Actually, it's the Ninja Theory Devil May Cry. There's a scene.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the last levels in the game too. It's one of the absolute final levels in the game. There's this one scene where you're just in this elevator, right, and going right near. You're at the end of the level. It's like, oh my god, this is hell. This is truly hell. Because all you hear is this crummy ass. Just fought demons and monsters, and you're trying to come down from you're trying to keep your adrenaline up. You got this super, super crappy elevator music between floors. And the main character goes, yeah, this is hell. This is hell. This is really hell. And I thought, that is brilliant. That was the most brilliant line in that whole video game. And that game was good. But that line made me go, yep, I'm stealing that son of a bitch.
Actually, that's a scene that repeats in a lot of other different kinds of movies. Like I remember, what was it? It's like the Dawn of the Dead, where they're in the shopping mall and they're going to prepare cleaning out a bunch of zombies, or I think it's the intruders at that point. And they're riding on the elevator, and one of the guys says, "Oh, I like that song." So in between the killing spree, they're just having this elevator music going on, like dee, 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 dee. It's just kind of like making you feel completely stupid sitting there with your baseball bat and whatever. Like, yeah, this is just kind of not doing it for me.
It's like, yeah, you know what? Screw the elevator music. Screw it all.
I can't seem to find my murderous rage in this kind of environment. It's just not
Right.
working.
It's like, what kind of monster would make it so I couldn't be like mad and raging in this place? Like the bad guys. They just know. They'd load you up with this evil elevator music. It's like, you cannot elevator music here. It's like, wow. We're having a wonderful chat.
Right.
We're having a wonderful chat on the amazing eloquence that is elevator music. That's a first for this podcast.
First for the podcast?
It is.
Oh my god.
Hey, trendsetter you.
Elevator music.
For anyone watching
so
or
relieved.
listening, for anyone watching and listening, no, we will not be continuing down the path of elevator music for the rest of the time here. But that all said, it is cool that life does go in funny places, right? And I embrace the funny side of it. You know, Jigglypuff is a little harder to draw than I gave it credit for, just a little bit.
All right, and Harley is just about getting boobs.
That's right. Boobs still kick my ass. Still a little bit. I gotta figure out what's gonna happen with me in the next week or so.
In what way? What's going on? Like with a new job?
Well,
With a new
I'm like, well, if I cannot, keep my freelancing ways going, there is not enough. I'm going to have to get a job. But it's apparent to me that this place is not maybe where I should be looking for a job. Or I should be looking abroad, And
okay. Do you have the opportunity to just go someplace else? I remember that my husband and me wanted to go and visit Canada at some point, and it was made clear to us that because of the former parking or speeding ticket or something like that, that we wouldn't be able to enter.
Yep. Till statute of limitations expires on it. Yep, I know. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt myself. Here's the thing though. I have dual citizenship. Ha ha ha.
Go for it.
So it doesn't really matter what the rules are. The rules say they are. I can walk across because I'm both a Canadian and an American. So
there you go.
So I can go wherever I want.
Well, it's lucky for you.
North America, anyway. I can go anywhere. So, maybe I figure out a way. To go somewhere in the States and maybe work on movie stuff, or maybe maybe this corporate job pays off. Maybe I get a phone call Monday or Tuesday, and it's like, hey, we want you, and we will pay. To which
that's the second caveat, isn't it?
Oh no, well, here's the thing, right? It sounds nihilistic, but it's the truth. If you ain't gonna pay me money, I ain't gonna care. Right? That is the way it is. If we're only gonna give you this much money, I'm gonna be like, well, that's nice. I'm not interested. I'm gonna go fishing or drinking because that's easy to do.
Yeah, I've kind of been there too, because there's only so much value in what they call exposure. If somebody tells you, you can get great exposure from this. Yeah, whatever.
Actually, at that point, I just ask them to leave. I don't even entertain that. You're nice to that. Okay, that was nice. You can leave now. It's like, what did I say? It's like I'm not working for free. I'm sorry, guy. I'm not doing that. You're going to have to pay me money. The most important lesson I've learned as a freelancer is this. If you're going to be serious about it, you cannot give anything away. Sounds bad until you realize what you're doing, right? What I'm doing is basically going, hey, I'm worth something. And I am more than willing to, if for a price, do that thing you want me to do. But this is my price. And if you're not going to meet my price, that means deep down you don't value me, and ergo I don't value you. And
Well, I think it's a possibility if you want to do something for a good cause, then yeah, you can volunteer your time for it. But that's different from somebody on the outset determining that you're not worth getting paid for, and you are meant to work on something for free because they don't want to pay for you. That's an entirely different set of rules.
If you're doing it for a charitable cause, that's a different story. That's a choice. And if you want to do stuff for charity, no one's going to say, hey, how dare you do things for things you believe in. That's wrong. It's very, very wrong. Like, no one's going to say that. But, well, I don't want to meet the person that would say that anyway. Right? But the point where you got to go, okay, I'm worth something. And even if no one's willing to give, it's like, okay, you know what? I don't really need to do this. You gotta decide. Like everything in life's a negotiation. Everything. So you gotta decide what you're willing to do. What is worth it for you to do. And if the answer to that is, I need this much money to get this thing, or I won't do it, then that's what you do. You get this money to do this thing, or you won't do it. Okay. Stick to your guns. That's it. You find something else to do. There are a million things to do in this life. And if you don't want to do any of them, like I said, there's always fishing and drinking.
I guess in Canada there is.
Even I'm sure, like you're off the island, right? I mean, I'm sure people there do what they damn well please do.
There's a lot of people going fishing, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm fishing and I'm drinking. Because I can ferment. If I know how to ferment stuff, I can make booze. That's all there is to it. Booze is actually not that hard to make. Good booze is hard to make, but booze in itself is not hard to make.
No, actually, we usually make our own kombucha. That's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's just it. Oh, Jigglypuff. I definitely cannot do the Jiggly. I'll show you my Jiggly.
Okay, go for it.
I cannot do the Jiggly, ladies and gentlemen. I made various little gremlins from another dimension here.
All right. Oh, that is kind of cute.
They're cute, but they're not Jiggly.
And sometimes I find like the simplest things are the hardest damn things to do.
They are.
Like even for like production art or other things that are most of the time supposed to be the easiest. Those are the things where all the shit goes wrong. That's usually like a thumb rule, like something that you're meant to or supposed to be just knocking out and it's just done. Those are the things that are just completely going to screw up your day. That's usually how it happens for me anyways. Maybe it's because you don't pay attention to it or something, maybe you're just not thinking about it properly like you should.
No, I know the reason why. Would you like to hear it? The actual reason? Simple is hard. A lot of people confuse simple with easy. And that is not a mistake you should make. Simple is almost never easy. Almost never. And you get to a point of simplicity, usually requires a lot of thought, like a lot of thought, right? And most of us don't necessarily how to put this. Most of us don't necessarily know how to do that. You know what I mean? Complexity is simpler for us to see, right? When it's simple, when it's fundamentally, rudimentarily simple, that means you've gone through the process of mastering the complexity of that piece. So when you get something incredibly simple, it kicks your ass because simplicity is genius, is true genius. But that's what I've learned. So that's me.
Oh, that's why, like Zen brush strokes and all those kind of things are its own kind of art form.
Yes.
Right, because they are trying to do something very, very complex with very few gestures. You know, and actually a lot of cartoons that are very, very simple are really, really complex at the same time. Like if you're looking at like what is it, like Ziggy or Garfield or all those kind of things, or you know, those Sunday cartoons, a lot of them seem very simple, but in order to actually make something that expresses so much in very few strokes, that requires a lot of thought.
Yes.
So
yes, it does. Yes, it does. But a lot of people don't. Again, it's recognizing that simple. When I say, oh, a lot of people get really annoyed when it's like, hey, you got this really easy answer, and I've been correcting people. It's like, no, I don't have an easy answer. What I just told you is actually super ridiculously hard to do. But it is ultimately a simple thing. And once you recognize it as a simple thing, it is possible to do it. But it's not easy. And anybody that says otherwise, I'm like, you know what? I want your drugs. I just want your drugs because I've never known simple. Simple is not easy. It's the biggest misconception I think I've ever heard with simplicity. It's like, yeah, it's easy. No, it's not. It's really hard. I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't figured this out. But okay, you got it. More power to you. Right? And more often than not, they don't. So that's what I've learned. Does that make sense?
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, just getting into the very simple things of making the face. And that's the unfair part. If you're doing a face and you fuck up with that, then usually everybody's going to be able to tell you, like, that doesn't look like a human. Yeah, you're right. That's
So
always the
what?
hardest part.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Well,
Don't know what I'm doing.
a little judgment is maybe
That's
okay.
the whole of my secret. That's the whole of my secret. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just kind of just do stuff and let things happen.
Well, I'm getting here with my Harley. Ooh.
Nice. I'm getting there. So I decided to try my other secretly favorite old school Pokemon. Right?
Okay.
Mew.
Oh, I read up about him when we were doing the Super Smash Bros. And he seemed to be a really, really cool character. I've seen like a version of him, like a mecha Mew, like an electronic kind of anime version of him, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, well, there's Mew and there's Mewtwo.
Ah.
right? Mew is kind of like the wild animal version of Mewtwo. He's what Mewtwo's based off of. He was the, for lack of a better term, clone. But I am grateful I drew him. I think I learned something about how to draw muscle. Could be wrong. We'll figure that out with my next drink and draw. Just in a couple weeks, if I actually figured out muscles, or if I'm just on something. I'm not sure. We'll find out if I'm spot on or on something. We'll figure that out in a future episode. Just Joshing, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm not going to pretend I know what I'm doing now. I never pretend I know what I'm doing. It's like, again, it's the whole of my secret. But that's pretty happy.
Yeah, muscles are pretty hard in their own way because you have to understand movement in order to kind of figure out where everything is supposed to go. So if you're starting to do muscles and everything, you just have to see like where does this go? Where does the whole limb or whatever you're trying to do, where's this range of motion take it? Where am I moving? And if I'm moving it, where it needs to be motion expressed, or where's the muscle bulging? All this kind of understanding. There's a lot of shit behind it. Really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, like I said, I'm just trying to get basic shapes here. Well, I've been working on practicing my expressions because, from what I can tell, that's the secret of storytelling. It's not so much how good the drawing is; it's the expressions you can convey in the drawing. Because people get that, people get that, they get your story. So that's what little I've learned so far. So I'm trying to master.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
A lot of people are like I said, like good in showing emotion in very, very few strokes. Like there's people who are very good with realistic drawings and shades and all that kind of stuff, but then emotion is kind of like completely eluding it. But if you're looking at anime, for example, there's so many different characters that are just so awesome and very, very little things. Because anime in particular is so, well, it's on purpose that they're not as realistic as other things, that they're so stylized in their big eyes and in their facial features and everything. It's on purpose that they are, just so more people can kind of like identify with them. That's the whole purpose of it. Because a lot of times in anime, you've got this disconnect. You have these really, really super beautiful and realistic backgrounds and nature and everything. But then the characters in themselves are actually not realistic. They are, compared to Western animation, and a lot of times, very, very rudimentary in their expressions. You have just the eyes and like especially Pokemon. If you're looking at the animated series, right? They have like these really comic expressions, those cartoony expressions with just having the eyes like two big dots and like squiggly lines on top of their faces in order to convey certain kind of emotions. So very, very rudimentary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not that great at that sometimes. I think sometimes like the expressions, like I said, that's a hard thing to do too. But I'm getting better with muscles too, I think.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, I actually did a half decent Mew.
Yay! Oh, I'll be damned. Oh, he's cute.
Yeah.
That is a cute one. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, like I said, I have evolved in this. I've evolved in my ability to draw. I'm getting better. I am getting better. Not bad for someone that's only been doing it for about 9 months. You know, so it's like my 1-year anniversary will be in November, and I'm going to need a new art book soon because this art book's very nearly full.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've actually been progressing quite a bit myself, and that's mostly because I've been starting to do more things that I wasn't really comfortable with. Like just trying to do more things that challenge me and that I didn't necessarily know how to do. And there's like a really fun element to it, and I think doing like the drawn bids and everything has helped me with that too. Just doing characters and different things that you hadn't really thought you could do, and then just starting with it and see where it takes you. That's a fun process. It's a really fun process.
So I mean, I can't do Jigglypuff. I'll have to come to terms with that one yet. I still haven't figured out Jiggly. There's no jiggle. There's no jiggle to the puff. It's just one big pile of non-jiggly. Right.
Is he not doing the Jello?
No Jello. It's all non-jiggly, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about the non-jiggle or something to that effect. Wait, I'm going down this dirty road now. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. But yeah.
Where is this going? I was wondering there.
I don't know. Where's this going? No idea. Help. I don't know what I'm doing.
I thought for a second we were going into Jello wrestling, but there you go.
You know what? That should be a theme. We should get Mark to go, hey, Ma, we haven't done on your show Jello wrestling.
Yay! Well, actually, there's a God, what is that show about the female wrestlers?
Glow.
Do you know? What was that?
It's called Glow.
Oh, that's right, Glow. Yeah.
So, true story. When my parents were going through what would eventually become their separation, it got very, very weird in the house. Not a lot of things I want to talk about that time because it was not a great time. But one of the things I remember, that's like the original Glow, right? The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. That's what that Glow actually stands for. Aired in like 1988, and yeah. So you can find it. You go on YouTube, you can find like ladies wrestling, and it would come on at like around midnight. And this was on Saturday nights. And like I said, mom and dad were going through a really hard time. But again, so the big thing about being 7, 8 years old is on the weekend I'm not in school. Can I stay up as late as I want? And considering everything else that was going on in my life at that moment in time and everybody's lives, dad was often home on the weekends, just with how things kind of evolved with him and mom. And he said, yeah, why not? So I would watch these Gorgeous Ladies wrestling. Like my favorite character of all time is Big Bad Mama. She had like the worst character ever. But she'd be this she's this big massive woman that would cast voodoo dust on her opponents and then make them do things and then beat them. Right? So this is horrible stuff, right? Like this isn't like, but again, great escape for someone that needed it at the time. And it was like that was the original Gorgeous Ladies Wrestling. So this, like, the modern show sounds really, really fun, right? Sounds really, really, really fun. But at the same time, I haven't seen it because it's like I don't know if it would ever cover that charm. It sounds like it's more of a drama show with like dealing with real women's lives on top of wrestling, which I think is really cool.
I think it's meant to be kind of like their escape or something, that they are dealing with their lives by doing this kind of like empowering or something like that. I think that's what the theme is. I haven't seen it myself.
They're doing this amazing. They're pro wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, to get away from terrible people. It's true. Oh, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And no, man, it's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those things, right? So I got a kick because I was cool to see it because when I was a kid back in my day, I remember the original show, and the original show was corny as hell, but fun, but a lot of fun. And it's cool to see. It's cool to see like the legacy of it still exist. So that's kind of how I feel about it, right? So
But you wouldn't want to watch it just because it might remind you of the trauma of that time.
it's not really that. It's just I'm in a weird spot. I don't watch television much anymore. Like I
Hmm.
still like
Okay.
I got it just occurred to me like while we were just talking. I still have 2 DVDs worth of Fairy Tale to still watch. I haven't watched Fairy Tale, and
There
that's
you
right. I still haven't caught up with Fairy Tale, and I've had those tapes for those DVDs for like 3 years. So I'm
go. All
about
right.
the last two finally. I don't watch much television, right? So I don't like I've heard good things about the show. I've heard a lot of good things about a lot of good shows. I've become super so my junk food choice is like I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, comic books. Here's Harley Quinn by Stephanie Phillips and Riley Rossmo. I
Oh,
interviewed
wonderful.
Stephanie not too long ago, actually, which is kind of cool. And you know, I'm looking at it kind of more along the lines of how do I put this? I'm kind of looking at it more along the lines of the fact that I have to put my time in, and and again, I'm not knocking anyone that's doing part of the show. I know they're doing a really good job with what they have, but at the same time, at the same exact time, I have to really choose what to invest in and watch, or I have to give up YouTube rabbit holes and Twitch streaming.
Oh,
And
what a choice.
yeah, it kind of is, but that's my life. I want to be a creative person, and that means I have to give myself. The word of the day, Connie, is discipline.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
It's a good word, right? It's a great word.
Yeah.
But I don't get to watch cool shit anymore. I just don't get to watch cool things anymore. I'm not cool, Connie. I'm not cool. I'm just not. And I don't think I'll ever be cool again. I will have no idea what's happening at any time for the rest of my life. I am too old for that crap.
Well, I have to say for me, like, especially when I'm drawing, I've always been drawing better if I have something going on in the background, right? So for me, it's always easy to have something going on. It doesn't mean that I
Oh,
necessarily have
sure.
time to
Sure.
I have time to look at it the entire time, but I'm usually having something going on.
So Connie, my music choices right now. Let's see. Taylor Swift, hi.
Oh, okay.
Halsey, hi. Eminem, hi. And yes, these are CDs. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I am old. Shut up. It's okay.
Own it, own it.
I own that I'm uncool. I own it. I am middle-aged. I am crazy. I like owning shit. And if I don't get what I want, I do what grown-ups do. I go drink and fish. That's what grown-ups do.
Well, I usually if I'm not in a good place, then a lot of times I buy comics or I draw or I just withdraw and drink tea. That's a good one for me.
Yes. Also, I read manga. See, here's manga I read.
All right, what's that one called?
What?
What's that one called? I can't see it.
Grand Blue Fantasy. Grand Blue Fantasy.
Oh,
On the video. So where I'm still moderately hip. I'm gonna say moderately. I'm being very kind to myself there because I just listened to how that sounded and it was like, nope, I'm not cool at all. Just not cool.
The pure fact that you said hip just disqualified you.
I just killed me. Killed my chances right there. I heard that word. It's like, no, I'm dead. That's death nail. Death nail. I killed myself. I'm not cool, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just not cool. I'll have to live with that. But that all said, I find that like on video games, I'm playing video games, and I find like for me like that's my escape. Or I read comics or manga or novels, or I listen to music. I've actually, it's funny, as I've gotten older, I have less and less use for television or news, or I stay away from almost all of that stuff. If I'm going to be informed about what's going on in the world, what I look at, and this sounds really sad, I don't look at the news. I look at litigations.
Litigation? How do you look that up?
Because you can learn an awful lot about a company just based on what they're sued for. Sounds really cynical, but it's true, right? It's really, really true. I mean, you learn an awful lot about the character of these companies by looking at, well, what are they being sued for, right? So what kind of horrible company are you, right? You look at the vaccine companies. You can find out exactly what kind of horrible people they are. They all have a litigation history. Sounds incredibly sad. It tells you a lot about them, right?
I find it kind of cynical that you're looking at every single one like they all have litigations. They all have skeletons in the closet.
It's not. Sadly, it's not. I don't really feel it's cynical. This is the thing. This is how I see it. We live in a world today where, by and large, people are exploited by companies and governments. I don't think that's cynical to say that. I just think that's just the way it is. And the question is how, right? And that's the only real question. So it's a good way to. So when you figure that out, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to find out what kind of people these are I'm dealing with? What are they sued for? Right? Because that will tell you exactly what they're done for. And again, it's not like one lawsuit's going to make me condemn a company. But if I notice, for example, that a company is notorious, hey Doris, how you doing? If I know, for example, that a company is notorious for taking properties, for example, like DC with Watchmen, it's like, so if I got to deal with you, get a lawyer, because I'm going to need it with you. Because when things go well, it'll be great, but when things go bad, I need to cover my ass, right? I tend to find that might sound like an incredibly cynical thing to say. But I feel it's like an honest assessment of the people you're dealing with. These big companies are you're never going to find out what they're doing on the news. You're going to have to find out what they're doing because everybody goes to court. I know it sounds cynical, but it's the most honest way we have right now. It's the truth.
Well, unfortunately, you're not going to find a lot of the things that are going on right now, because a lot of people are getting sued like years and decades after whatever is happening, right? Like a lot of the things like pollutions and all kinds of other things are only being uncovered like way after the fact. Even a lot of it might not even be discovered. That's unfortunate.
You can still look. It's like court records are. It's funny. The most honest two records on the planet are tax records and court records. It sounds sad, but it's the truth. It's the most accurate stuff. So I mean, like when you investigate somebody or someone, it's just we live in a world that has, for the last 20 years at least that I've been alive, has often rewarded deception. So that means, so I've seen it in the housing crisis. I'm seeing it now. I'm just seeing it wherever I go. So I no longer just no longer look at television or mainstream news. If I want to know what's going on with an issue, I'm going to look at a whole bunch of different things, good and bad. Like, I'm not just going to look at just the litigation issues, decide if the company is an evil thing. But if I say, okay, let's say this company likes taking properties away from people, Okay, so what's their good stuff? Like, what did it? What is this always the case, or were there special circumstances? Like, you investigate, but you want to learn. Like we don't. We often take for granted that we are that you can't find information as what's going on right now, but you have to look for it, and and again, that takes work, and not everybody wants to do that kind of work, right? So, but if I always tend to judge people by one quality, and that's this: do they do what they say they're going to do? And I judge everybody that way. Doesn't matter how big or how small.
Yeah, a lot of times you can judge people by the small things they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they also say the same thing. You don't necessarily get to know what a person is like by watching them, how they behave among their equals, but how they behave around people they see as inferior or lower than them. That's usually how you find out what people are made of. And I find that very true. There's a lot to be said for those kind of those kind of things. Because I know people who are very, very good in managing up to people that they see as their superiors. You know, like making sure that they are happy, that all the proper things are being said and done in order to make management happy. But the same people are not very good at managing down, getting all the things that people below them need in order to succeed. So that's very easy thing.
Well, yeah, well, that one I will. Middle management is like the worst thing in the world to get caught up in. Like, it's the absolute worst, right? Because you got to make both sides happy, and that's a very hard thing to do. That's a very, very hard thing to do, and not a lot of places can do that well. So I'm kind of forgiving on that to some degree. But what I tend to find with the that one's more, again, you just watch people. Like, I watch what they say and I watch what they do, and you will find almost, if they're consistent, they're usually decent people. If they're not consistent, then the question becomes, why aren't they consistent? Is it in their control or not? If the answer is yes, it's in their control, and they are mismanaging certain things, or they don't have the priorities of where you feel they should be or need to be, that becomes a serious issue, and it can really cause some problems. But you have to be aware of these things. Most people don't think in those terms right away. Most people just take the status quo for what it is, and that's not always the right thing to do. And that's kind of what I've seen and done. And I've observed with people. I will, I do that even with clients when I do freelancing. If I find they tell me something and they don't follow through, they're out. I'm an asshole, but that's just the way it is. They're out. Like, I'm not gonna put up with it. It's just, I am too old to
compromise.
I
on
can
certain things.
No. Compromise is fine. Like, but that again, that usually requires communication on both sides, right? If I get told, if something happens and they come to me and go, okay, shit happens, this is why it should happen, this is what we can do, we can talk or compromise then. But if it's like, I'm going to do this, and that doesn't happen, well, why doesn't it happen? You hear nothing. Bye. That's it. I'm not gonna fuck around, right? Because it is like, if you're serious, you will communicate. At the very least, if things go wrong, you'll communicate. If you're not serious, well, you know, if you're not taking this seriously, why should I?
That's true.
Yeah. I'm old and cynical. Well, like I said, it sounds cynical, but it's just like you learn to protect yourself, right?
Sometimes I'm not really as good in protecting myself necessarily, because I always want to believe the best of people, and that's probably my downfall.
Sure.
In a lot of different ways. I want to believe that people are doing what they're doing because, well, there's circumstances or whatever. But yeah, I see what, like, I always want to believe the best in people.
Well, and I want to believe the best in people too. But I also, this is just me. It doesn't have to be at my expense.
That's true.
Right? It doesn't have to be at my expense. Right? If you, like, here's my belief. Like, this is my ultimate belief with people. At the end of the day, people do exactly what they want to do. The question is this: are they doing it because they are aware of what they're doing or not? That's the real question, right? If people are deliberately controlling their wants, it's easy to understand. And usually it's open communication. It's when people aren't communicating those wants and desires, that can be frustrating. But the thing is, again, something I just said, people do what they want to do. I'm not going to fight people or chase people, right? If you make it very clear that your priorities are elsewhere, I'm not going to argue with you. If you make it clear that you want something, right? That you want to do the right thing, you're going to make that abundantly clear. And if you're making it clear that you don't really want to, you'll make that also abundantly clear. And I'm just going to believe you either way. And it's not like I'm not saying you're a good or a bad person. You are just doing what you want to do. So the question is, do I have to protect myself? If the answer is yes, I'm gonna.
That sounded so personal, the way that you said that.
Yeah, but I mean, there is experience with that, right? There is some experience with that. I just say it like that because it's important to understand that you yourself are valuable. And even though I do believe that, hey, listen, things happen all the time. And I'm not going to knock anybody for having a change of heart or doing something. But I'm also going to look at it like this. Right? They are going to do what they want, and they're going to make the things in their life a priority, what they want to make those things in life a priority at. So, I'm going to take what they do to heart, not because I think like ill will or it's cynical or no, it has nothing to do with that. I just okay, I just believe you, and I am going to take actions accordingly, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. Like, that's how I see it. And that's it. It's not like, again, I'm protecting myself because that's just the way to do it. And I'm not going to let anyone wreck my stuff or take something I really love and make it unfun. Right? So I'm going to make sure that I don't need to get the short hand of the stick. And I don't necessarily need to think you're a bad person because of the way things worked out either. Things happen. And you know what? I'm a grown-ass man. I can take it. I'm just going to make sure that I'm not going to get taken advantage of. Does that make sense?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Hold on for a second. I
No
just
worries.
finished my Harley Quinn, I think.
Yeah, and then we'll go and get into the point where we get to wrap up and have a good time.
There she is. Yay!
Yay!
All right, there we go. Actually, gonna put myself back into the
All
picture.
right. So it's for the Harley. Show off Miss Harley. And then we'll do a wrap up of the draws here because I did some really cool stuff. So the amazing Conny Jolitz, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry that I'm still having issues with the mirror.
It does her awesome Harley Quinn. That is an amazing Harley. It's a badass Harley. She's got abs that will blow my mind for the rest of my life. It's just fantastic stuff. And
I wish it was so easy to get the hat.
And then like
I wish it was so easy.
As the way I did, it's like make it prepare for trouble and make it double. And I'm just gonna do it because it helps my show. To protect the world from the devastation, to unite all peoples and in our nation, to denounce the evils of truth and love, to extend our reach to the jowers of stars above. It's Jesse, it's James. Team Rocket blasting off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight.
Yay!
Yay! I was brainwashed as a kid. You can tell. Anyway.
Are you going to send that in? Are you going to send those into the drawing?
I don't know if I send this one in, but I am going to show it on my Instagram. I always show my work on my Instagram. So, non-jiggly jigglypuff, ladies and gentlemen. All of the non-jiggle. Right? So, Mog, if you're watching or listening to this, Jello wrestling should be a theme. Mel, Jello wrestling. Do the Jello wrestling. And finally, this one I might, though. This is new.
That is a really cute one. I think that turned out really, really well.
That one I did really good. I'm really proud of that one. But as I've come a long way, so has Connie. Connie, your stuff's gotten also a lot better in the very short time I've gotten to know you too. You're putting the work in, right?
I think it really pays off to just take chances. And yes. I know that for a long time I just didn't want to draw anything for fear of fucking it up. So you just kind of paralyze yourself with the fear of not really doing a good job at it. So now I just try to figure something else new out. And actually, I think this month I'm going to try and do my very first sequential page, like a 5-panel little sequential thing. So I'm hoping that turns out well. Yeah.
So for me, I want to touch on that point, and then we'll wrap up. So I always thought I sucked at drawing, and what ended up happening was like same thing. I was paralyzed with this fear. I don't fear much, but I do fear. Well, what if I suck? Yeah. And that like that's the fear. When you break it all down, again, a simple fear, but man, is it a powerful one. And I had a wonderful thought one day. So what if you suck? Right? It's so what?
That's right? Exactly what I was figuring. Because you have to kind of get over it and say like, well, you need the practice anyway. So you can always start a new page if this one doesn't work out the way that it does. I mean, yeah, if it takes more time than you want to, then that's unfortunate sometimes. Right.
But I'm going to try to conquer the all-important jiggly of the puff. You see if I can make it add the jiggle to the puff there. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But
try to color it. Try to color the mute.
I gotta get colors. Really I gotta get colors to do colors, and that's gonna have to wait until I figure out what the heck is gonna happen with my job situation now going forward, because I'm into the unsteady road of chaos right now.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry that you're going through that.
You know what? I honestly no. I think here's the thing, okay? I actually I started freelancing again about 3 weeks ago because there was a layoff with this job right before I started anyway. What tended to happen was like I started freelancing. So the very first week I freelanced, I made more money that week than I ever did working for anybody. Now, it wasn't consistent. I still got more money coming in from freelancing for the next 3 months, I got money coming in. Now, it's not big money or anything like that, but the fact is I've made money as a freelancer, and I've made 4 figures in 4 weeks. Which isn't that, when you sit there and think about it, that's not bad for someone that's like, the difference
But it is a little bit of a thing that it's not secure. So there's the rub in it. Sometimes you have freelancing stuff, but you have to be willing to take the plunge and try and make it through that.
Well, there's that, but so the first time I did freelancing, there was always like this fear that it wasn't going to work. This time, there's no fear. It's more like, this is where you wanted to go, and I got to kind of nut up, right? This is how I kind of look at it, kind of like, this is where you wanted to be. So it's time to shit or get off the bus. And that's all there really is to it. And you need chaos sometimes, because what that chaos is that pressure to actually go forward and go do those uncomfortable things. Now, I'm in a situation right this minute, I don't have to pay rent right now. I'm house sitting, so I can afford to take some chances right now. Now, I don't want to stay here forever. In fact, to be perfectly blunt, I already know this. Like as I told you, I don't really want to stay here anymore either. I've kind of hit that point, and it's like, it's just not. It's not worth it for me to stay here. That all said, that doesn't mean I won't be here for a little while yet, trying to figure out getting my craft and everything, getting my shit together, for lack of a better term. But all of which to say though is, sometimes the chaos, sometimes losing those things, isn't bad. It's just you're transitioning from one thing to another, and it might all just magically work out. Like, so my podcast hit brand new numbers. Never seen an audio number that big. In fact, it's going to be, if I added it up from where it is right this minute, it's even a bigger number now than the one I showed you. So it's it's crazy. It's a big enough number I can actually sell advertising space for different people and actually do sponsorships and things like that, and it's a justifiable number.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, because I'm getting hundreds of people to listen to the show. So if I'm getting hundreds of people across the world listening to the show, that's an audience, right? Yeah. I have a legitimate audience. So someone like you, say you do a Kickstarter, you'd say do a sequential, I can promote a Kickstarter for a month, and I have an audience that might actually indulge in it, because it's not just the United States, it's Europe, it's all over the world. Right.
And if you have a smaller audience, a core audience that you start off with, that also gives you the opportunity to get to know them and find out what their niche is, what their interests are, and all that kind of stuff. It's really exciting.
Exactly. So there's a lot of good. Like I said, I got the corporate job thing that came my way about a week ago now. So there's a lot of possibilities and a lot of good things right now. So having a little chaos isn't in itself a bad thing. It just means that I have to move my ass, and that's not really a bad thing. Hey, you gotta get on your own ball right now, or else you're going to be stuck here forever. Nah, I'm stuck here forever. So, but
yeah, I find though that a lot of times, like when it comes to art in different forms, it's best to go with the flow and embrace weird changes, because a lot of times, like you said, it's those kind of transition periods that are going to give you the best ideas for different stuff. So you can take those different things that go wrong and actually make something out of it.
Always. Younger me younger me would have been panicking. Older me is like, fuck it, let's just do it, because here's the thing. Like Hawaii, surfing, streaming. It sounds like a good life. I think I can do it, but we'll see what happens. So
you're saying maybe sometime you're gonna end up over here? Maybe.
Yeah, why not? Life's short. Right? Get like a hammock on the beach. Why the hell not? Life is short. Right? Get in trouble. Find out all the cool local foods that are there to eat and drink, and be the most terrible surfer / singer in the world, still probably fail to draw Jigglypuff, and get the opportunity to stream and talk to and meet amazing people all over the world, because why not? Life's a short thing. You might as well do all the things you want to do. So if the right opportunity came, I'd be there tomorrow. I could go tomorrow. I have a social security number. I can work in the United States. Right? I'd have to get ID again for the United States, but I can do it. Right? So that's kind of where we're at, and I'm kind of excited to see where it all goes. And chaos is not always a bad thing. Change is almost inevitably a good thing. It's just where you let it lead you. And like I said, that goes back to that thing, like dead man steering the river thing. Smart enough to embrace the chaos, but maybe like take your advice and like steer it where you kind of want it to go a little bit, right? When you can. So
oil the water.
Yeah. But on that note, Miss Connie, I think we've had a wonderful chat. What do you think?
I think so too, and I usually can see how my mood goes. Sorry, I can usually see where my mood goes when my art is coming along. So the Harley is winking at me, and I really like it. I like the way that she turned out. I'm having a good chat.
Awesome. No, thank you very much. So for everybody watching, listening, or however they're getting this, Connie is always up for commissions, and she's always doing kick-ass stuff. So how can people find you? So how can people find you?
You can find me either on Facebook with my name, Conny Jolitz, or on Instagram. That's the CJinx Art. That's in my name down there. CJINKSRAT.
CJinx Art. There you go, folks. That is Miss Connie. And as for me, folks, I got quote. So I'm gonna take a minute here to do all the plugging of stuff. So this week I nearly hit 1,000 listens, plays, downloads on my audio edition of the podcast. I kind of want to say a quick thank you to everybody that watches and or listens to the show, whether you do it here, YouTube, or through my audio. I appreciate all of you, and thank you all very much for taking this opportunity to listen to my show and my many amazing people that I am very blessed with to have come on it. So from me to you, thank you. If you want to support this show, there's a bunch of ways you can do it. I'm going to put a link here. So for people to go, I have to update this bad boy. I will be doing it for Monday. You can donate there if you guys want. If you are a comic book person or a book person launching a book or a Kickstarter, you can always come up for sponsorships. You can find me and contact me at michaelthroughtime@live.com if you want to do that. We can figure out something cool to do, and I have no problem shilling it on the air. I'm sure my guests will be okay seeing randomly cool crap on my show as well. And there's that availability. Alice Zero is up for the Elgin Award. You can find it on my Amazon. Take a look at it there. Subscribe to this podcast. Hit the like, follow button here or on my YouTube channel. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. Josh Nealis is my guest Monday. It's going to be a good show. Peace out. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening. Wherever you did, I appreciate you.